This is the Nations Conspire channel. Welcome to today's show. As I have often done on my channel over the years, I've obviously gone through the trending section on YouTube and shown everybody out there why a lot of these videos end up getting promoted by YouTube. It's deliberately done. It's not because these videos are viral. They make them viral. And over the years, we've obviously seen many satanic videos that have been propped up in the YouTube algorithm. And I wanted to cover this one that was trending by Jack White, because I don't think I've ever covered Jack White, who is formerly a member of the band The White Stripes. And the song is called Archbishop Harold Holmes. And it's important that people see this so they can understand the mind control behind why these videos exist and how they program people. So the song is by Jack White, who you might remember from the band The White Stripes, one of the albums called Get Behind Me, Satan, of course, referencing the Bible. These people are always referencing scripture. It's important to note that they're always referencing God and the devil. They're never speaking on any other God other than the one that they worship, Lucifer, and speaking against Jesus Christ. That's because Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, and that is their sworn enemy. These Freemasons like Jack White, who I'll show you, is in fact affiliated with Freemasonry, as all of them are. They all worship their god Lucifer, and to them, the enemy of humanity, the enemy to them that they hate more than anyone else, is Jesus Christ. That's why they're constantly referencing scripture, and it's important to show people this so that they can see that there's obviously consistency here with all of these musicians who are constantly referencing the Bible. So Get Behind Me, Satan is obviously a reference to Matthew chapter 16, verse 23, where Jesus uses that phrase, get behind me, Satan, to rebuke Peter after Peter tries to dissuade Jesus from his impending crucifixion. The phrase signifies a rejection of a temptation or a way of thinking that opposes God's will. In Matthew chapter 16, verse 23, but he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan, thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. And this entire video is done to make Christians look like crazy people. The whole depiction that we have seen over the years of how Christians are depicted from a lot of these shows like The Righteous Gemstones, to the way a lot of these preachers are formulated into speaking and acting. This is all exactly from the CIA's playbook. This is the evangelical movement, and this goes back to the CIA doctrinal warfare program, which was declassified in 2013. And if you want to see me do a separate video on that, I will, where in detail they break down the infiltration of the church, how they were going to infiltrate and create new sects inside of the church. And that's really what you see today. A lot of these different sectors of the church, which have a lot of these evangelicals that sing on stage or look a certain way, talk a certain way, the Joel Osteens, I like to call them, that are pretty much these preachers that are preaching prosperity. They're preaching about money. That's what they're depicting in this video. So the video starts off with this thumbnail. Let's take a look at the thumbnail, right? Right in front of our faces, you can see it says Corona right on the thumbnail. That's deliberately done. That's deliberately chosen for the record player that's going to play the background music while the singing is taking place, because who's responsible for the lockdowns and the shutdowns that just occurred? Well, all the people who are a member of the same club as Jack White, and all these celebrities played their part during the outbreak and the shutdowns to try to influence and use social engineering to get people on board with poisoning themselves. So the video is pretty much John C. Reilly, the actor, singing the lyrics of the song, and he's got lightning coming out of his body. He's electrified in a sense, right? And that's referencing Luke chapter 10, verse 18. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. It is a reference to Lucifer when we see lightning all of the time with all of these bands. They're not huge fans of thunderstorms. They're not sitting around watching the Weather Channel hoping Jim Cantor is going to be reporting on local lightning strikes during the day and the evening and just sitting back waiting and hoping. This is a reference to Lucifer. So AC/DC, Kiss, you always will see lightning bolts. Marilyn Manson, David Bowie with the lightning bolt on his face. It's a reference to Satan and Satan's fall from heaven. So John C. Reilly is the actor in the video. It's worth noting. You can see John C. Reilly here holding up the 666 sign on the red carpet. These are a lot of the things that they do deliberately during photo ops. They'll do this a lot with their hat, tipping of their hat, making a 666, or holding up jewelry, doing that with their hands so it's not as obvious. And he's most known for the film Step Brothers that he's in with Will Ferrell. And I have tons of videos on Will Ferrell, who is one of the most satanic people walking the earth, on my website. Video after video after video that reference satanic sacrifice, some of the skits that he's done, some of the roles he's played in movies like Zoolander that have human sacrifice rituals in it. Those videos are available on the website. And I guess it's not a coincidence either that John C. Reilly also has his own band, and he also plays at the Hollywood Forever Masonic Lodge, which I also have a breakdown on the website, which, again, is that famous cemetery in Hollywood that a lot of these musicians like to play at, the Masonic Lodge over in Hollywood. So the lyrics of this song is pretty much a letter that this preacher writes to his congregation. He says things like, if you want to feel better, don't let the devil make you toss this letter. If you've been crossed up by hoodoo, voodoo, a wizard, or the lizard. And then it goes on to talk about finances, and I have a special finance blessing for everyone. This is the prosperity movement. Okay, so when people see this through social engineering, they're programmed into thinking that this is what preachers are, this is what Christians are. They all look the same. It's a formulated viewpoint, right? Most people who ever find my channel, they often go, this guy's not Christian. He's yelling, he's screaming. He doesn't sound like a Christian the way that he's talking. Because there's a formula that they've created with that movement that I talked about earlier when they infiltrated the church with the doctrinal warfare program. So he's playing the role, John C. Reilly, of what the stereotype of the church is. And they continue to plant seeds in the minds of the youth that the church is all about money. These people are up there preaching about prosperity. And then, of course, they show them inside of an insane asylum, because that's what they want people to think. All of these preachers are crazy people. They have a woman who looks crazy, hasn't had sleep, has bags under her eyes. You can see on the whiteboard right there that it says 3 o'clock right on the whiteboard. I've covered that before. 3 o'clock is believed to be the real witching hour, the hour of satanic rituals. 3 a.m. in the morning, where a lot of demonic possession takes place. You've seen references from people like Eminem who have songs 3 o'clock in the morning, 333. It's very common. And if you speak with or ever hear people who are Satanists or have left satanic covens, they talk about doing these rituals at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's an inversion because it's believed that Jesus Christ died at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you will always see 3 o'clock referenced in a lot of these demonic music videos. And again, I have a video on that as well on the website for anybody who is on the website now or is hearing this somewhere else that might be a member. Definitely check that out if you haven't. So then John C. Reilly is getting dragged away into the back. Then, of course, we start seeing lights lighting up, and they're referencing electroshock therapy, which, of course, is a part of MK Ultra, the CIA program from 1953, and they claim ended in 1973. But it's still going on today because every one of these movies or music videos that we see produced is actually performing MK Ultra on the audience out there that's watching it. So Jack White, this is Jack White's song. This is Jack White, if you haven't seen him yet on the screen, holding a hand up over his eye like all of his friends do, right? They flash their gang signs showing you who their allegiance is to. And Jack White, I guess he's just playing peekaboo, right? He saw Bono do it, and he decided that he wanted to do it, right? He saw, I don't know, Johnny Depp do it. He thought, hey, I'll do it too. I'm taking a magazine photo shoot, right? These will be the headshots that are out there. No, this is deliberately done. This is how they show their allegiance, the one-eye symbolism that you see on the back of the dollar bill. You see them doing it again, holding up items over their eyes. This is just another way that they think that they're clever, that they can get away with these things. We see them often holding up monarch butterflies over their eyes from people like Beyonce, etc. We see them holding up books or albums over their eyes like Taylor Swift does. This is just a way that they get away with doing these things because they know that people's minds are not processing signs and symbols. They're just seeing their favorite artists or their favorite idols, and they're not looking any deeper into who they really are and who they truly worship. Here he is again with his hair over his eye, another way of doing the all-seeing eye. A lot of times you'll see models in magazines do this shoot deliberately, where they'll have their hair hanging over their eye on a magazine cover deliberately. I mean, this is exactly how these people operate. They don't always have to be blatant, but sometimes they will be, like this one, where you can see him on stage with an all-seeing eye right behind him. Now, Jack White has an affiliation, of course, with Freemasonry, right? Because if you didn't hear, Jack White saved a Detroit Masonic temple from foreclosure. He donated $142,000 to the temple to prevent foreclosure. And of course, he has a personal connection to the building because his mother worked at that Freemasonic lodge. So that must be a coincidence as well. You know, John C. Reilly, who's in the video, he's performing at Masonic lodges. Jack White performs at Masonic lodges all the time. And Jack White just decided to put $150,000 into saving a Masonic lodge for no reason whatsoever, other than the fact that his mother worked at a Masonic lodge, right? And I guess it's a coincidence, too, that Jack White got engaged at a Masonic temple during a show and then got married on stage at a Masonic temple. That must be a coincidence, too, right? Or is it also a coincidence that Jack White reupholsters a Masonic bench as a gift to the lodge's Masonic sound studio in Kentucky? Because the other one was in Detroit. Now there's one in Kentucky. He just seems to have some type of an affiliation with these Masonic lodges. And of course, that's why Jack White is famous and rich. And Jack White constantly puts out music that references scripture. Because remember, these people oppose God. Their job is to recruit souls. Their job is to brainwash the audience out there into thinking that Christianity is the enemy of the people, that Jesus Christ is the enemy of the people, that their belief that Lucifer is God is the true belief. And of course, when we talk about Freemasonry, we just go back to look at Albert Pike, right? To you, Sovereign Grand Inspectors General, 33rd degree Masons, we say this, that you may repeat it to the brethren of the 32nd, 31st, and 30th degrees. The Masonic religion should be by all of us initiates of the high degrees maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. Other mentions of Lucifer in Morals and Dogma, the book that is mandated reading for Freemasons. Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious name given to the spirit of darkness. Lucifer, the son of the morning. Is it he who bears the light? Doubt it not. And there are other quotes as well of Albert Pike talking about Lucifer, the light bearer, inside of the Masonic teachings that are shared in these Masonic temples that Jack White seems to be very attached to. He's giving his money to the Freemason lodges. I mean, it says he's worth about $50 million. Nobody really knows how. But these people pretty much, if you listen to a lot of interviews or talk to people who used to be in satanic covens, money just shows up in their bank accounts. I mean, that's how this whole thing really actually works. And it sounds crazy, but it's true. So Jack White, once again, I mean, he's had a song in the past or, an album, Get Behind Me, Satan. It's mocking the Bible. They're mocking scripture. They're always referencing God and the devil. But it's interesting that the devil is always looked at as the victim, as the one who was truly pure, the real light bearer. And God is always depicted as the enemy. And then anytime they depict a preacher, a minister, what do? They show these guys who act like lunatics on stage, who scream about money, planting seeds, grow your prosperity, money, money, money. Right? They show these guys who womanize and do all these things. They do that deliberately because when people see these types of things, they automatically in their mind associate Christianity with this type of behavior. That all Christians, all these people do is want money and all they do is preach craziness and they're all insane. And as we continue to move forward in the year 2025, we're seeing this now even more than ever before with what they've done with MAGA, this whole white nationalist mind control that they've put out there. The behavior, a lot of these MAGA people where they're holding up signs for Donald Trump being their president and Jesus being their king, those types of things, where they're putting Donald Trump, a human being, on the same pedestal as Jesus Christ. So this is all strategically done. It's deliberately done. It all comes to you right out of the Freemasonic lodges and the CIA, of course, which is really one and the same. These people who are a member of all these government agencies have all been initiated in Freemasonry, the same teachings. You could even see the connections between the Kabbalah and Freemasonry, the ancient Egyptian books. Obviously, we know of some other books that I can't mention here that a certain group of people who claim to be something they're not read that have connections to this as well. So this is the latest trending video on YouTube by Jack White, Archbishop Harold Holmes. It's just more of the same stuff, right? They picked John C. Reilly, another Mason. He's out there acting like a lunatic. And everybody out there sees this stuff. And this is really how they project this image of Christianity and preachers into the minds of the youth out there. So is it a coincidence that all the stuff that we just saw, Corona being the thumbnail for the actual video, from the lightning, the electrifying coming out of the hands of John C. Reilly, the preacher, who ends up being in an insane asylum at the end of the video, where there's clearly a woman who hasn't slept, who looks demon-possessed, who has the number 3 o'clock written on a whiteboard as John C. Reilly gets dragged into the back, and then we see electroshock therapy being done. Jack White, of course, all the all-seeing eye symbolism over and over and over. But it's all just a conspiracy, right? They're all connected to Freemasonry. They're all just giving their money to the Masonic lodges. They're all just, wonderful people in our world that constantly reference Scripture, constantly reference God and the devil. I thank everybody for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.